Hello everybody, Josh12 back again with another video. I'm back with another Dragon Ball Super review. I'm here to review episode 85 titled The Universes Begin to Make Their Moves, Their Individual Motives. Of course, if you've not seen the latest episode of Super, please go check it out because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, on to the video. Now, before getting into my thoughts, just for future reference for the further of this review, I'm having a very sad day because I'm extremely depressed over the passing of the great and amazing Don Rickles. And on top of that, I have an extremely sore throat. So I'm kind of fucked on both ends, emotionally and physically. So bear with me for the further of this episode review, but I just wanted to dedicate, I should have done this earlier, but I just wanted to dedicate some form of video, and I had so many other videos on the back burner to upload, but because of true laziness and unmotivation, it just never came to passing. But now that I am doing an actual video that more than likely will be uploaded, I just wanted to dedicate this review to the great and powerful Don Rickles. He was amazing, he was phenomenal, he was a legend, and he was my favorite insult comic. He was the master ball buster, and whenever you listen to me talk with Paul on the podcast or any kind of form of video, and you always wonder, why are we always bashing each other? It's because of Don Rickles. We were inspired by Don Rickles and his insult comic routine. He was a true roaster of the ages, and he took down everyone, and it was a masterful work. But with that being said, on to the video. Now, Dragon Ball Super Episode 85 begins with Goku and Gohan passing their own torches to essentially go and eventually get some more competitors for the Tournament of Power for Universe 7. Goku goes off to Dende's lookout to find the whereabouts of Android 17, while Gohan goes to prepare to train with his old master Piccolo. And while Goku is flying towards Dende's lookout, which I felt was kind of odd considering Goku does have instant transmission, so I don't know why he's flying all around these places, but whatever, it is what it is. He gets sidetracked over the course of his travels, and he finds a new and improved Majin Buu. Yes, we get to see the highly anticipated new Buu, the slimmer Buu, the almost super Buu, so to speak. And to be honest with you, I have to say this is probably my most uninterested and most lackluster portion of the episode. This episode is very strange in comparison to the previous episodes we've been getting throughout this arc. A lot of them have been very character focused or very topic focused. This episode is very much jam-packed with a whole bunch of world building, universe world building, character building. It's just a lot of building blocks on top of one another. It's like a large game of Tetris, essentially, where we get so much information and so many character well, not really development, but character motivations kind of get tossed around over the course of this episode, which is very interesting, and I appreciate that, especially coming off of the highly underrated Krillin episode that I encourage a lot of you to go check out, because it's fucking awesome. But with that being said, Goku finds this new Majin Buu and decides to spar with him. Mr. Sane explains that Majin Buu, ever since the fight with Basil, if I'm not mistaken, he's been very much anticipating the Tournament of Power as much as Goku has. So they start their sparring match, and it's very lackluster. There's not really anything extravagant. It's kind of cool to see Buu and Goku fight, rather, seeing as how we haven't seen that ever since, I want to say, the quasi-beginning of the Buu arc, where Goku fought Buu as a Super Saiyan 3, the first introduction of Super Saiyan 3 in the series. So it was kind of interesting to see that, but for the most part, it is pretty much lackluster. There's not really anything extravagant. It's kind of just it's coming off of the developments of Krillin in the previous episode, which is Goku needs to come up with a plan and a strategy to take out these opponents for the Universal Survival arc, in comparison to just having brute strength, which is another thing that Buu kind of teaches Goku. I don't know what's with Toy Animation dumbing down Goku's fighting abilities so much these past couple of episodes. I mean, hell, even with the teasers, we get to see some more Super Saiyan Blue action for a character that I find baffling could take on a god of any kind of stature. But I digress. Regardless, Goku goes off his separate ways with Buu, and Buu is tired. And this is the big question and speculation I have for this episode, which is, A, what was the purpose of Skinny Buu? And B, is this going to be a consistent template character design for the rest of this arc, or possibly the rest of this series? I doubt it, considering that Boo does eventually get fat again at the end of the series. So was this kind of a one and done? Is kind of the question I have for this episode. I feel like if it was a one and done and it was some kind of like inside joke for Toei Animation just to fool around with their concept art sheets, I feel like was incredibly wasteful and counterproductive out of the amazing multiple things that they could be doing. But it's Toei Animation. Who the fuck knows what they're doing over there? I'm not in Japan. I don't speak Japanese. I'm just an asshole American who's fucking drinking Pepsi.
Everybody, let's get into it. Get stupid, get retarded, get retarded, get retarded. Let's get retarded. Let's get retarded in here. Let's get retarded. Let's get retarded in here. Let's get retarded. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just a whole bunch of crazy shit. But regardless of any of that shit, we move on and we get Universe 11 Kai, Supreme Kai, going off and starting a meeting with the other Kais, and vice versa with the Gods of Destruction. This is something we've gotten in previous spoilers from Toei Animation. We got a whole bunch of spoilers regarding these supposed meetups between the gods, and we finally get to see a little tease of that in this episode. And a lot like the Majin Buu stuff was kind of lackluster. I was expecting a lot more, but I did get some very interesting tidbits of coolness from this meetups, which was the Supreme Kai of Universe 11 gathers the other Supreme Kais that are involved with the tournament, and essentially he discusses the possible coming of heads to essentially talk to Xenosamas and discuss the possibility of taking out the whole destruction of universes thing. Kind of similar to what Bergamo was doing in his fight with Goku. Unfortunately, the rest of the Kais aren't really into the idea of getting any kind of involvement with, of course, Universe 7, which we heard from the spoilers, but also talking to these Xenosamas in any kind of capacity, seeing as how they feel it's kind of just futile. And I actually kind of have to give credit to the Supreme Kai of Universe 11 to actually come up with a plan. Unfortunately, the other Kais aren't really into it. I felt was kind of stupid on their part. I mean, if your universe was going to be demolished and you could have done something to like talk to the judge and jury executioner, which is the Xenosamas and the Grand Priest, wouldn't you try to like plea a case? I don't know. I felt it's kind of stupid on their parts. Even for Gowasu. I mean, Gowasu knows Universe 7. He knows Goku. He knows that this is all just a misunderstanding. Why not team up with Supreme Kai of Universe 11 and talk to the Xenosamas? I just felt it was very much just stupid on the Kai's part. And maybe they deserve to be destroyed. I'm just saying. I'm still going off of my speculation over the mortal life numbering that the Xenosamas and Grand Priest kind of gave out, which is, if these universes were planned for destruction prior to the Tournament Power, there is a reason, and maybe we're getting that. I mean, if you look at Universe 9, they're just a bunch of douchebags, and if you look at all these other universes, they don't look so good either. I mean, Universe 6, we already know what they're all about. Come on, fucking Gowasu, he trained Zamasu, and Zamasu was a fucking problem. So yeah, he's not really that great of a teacher, and everybody else is just a dope. So, I don't know, it is what it is. I think it would have been good on their part to do something and try to fight against this whole destroying of universes, but whatever. However, on the flip side, on vice versa, we got the Gods of Destruction's meetup. Of course, once again, like the Kais, excluding Universe 7. And I felt like it was also kind of lackluster. I will say, Vado's reactions to the discussion process of Goku between the gods was pretty fun and cool and hilarious. Hilla's comments were funny. Vado's vouching for Goku was very surprising, considering that we don't really have that many Vado's Goku moments, but it was really nice of Vado's. I think Vado's, a lot like Whis, is very much just, they're probably like the smartest of the angels. They have a lot more foresight, and they're just superior in comparison to their Gods of Destruction in so many ways, because Beerus and Champa are very loud, and Champa especially is like very stupid, where Vado's, like, she'll say something incredibly smart and insightful, and then Champa will be like, "No, let's fucking do this! Saiyans! I need more Saiyans!" You know, he's very loud and stupid and crazy, and I like the dynamics. In comparison to all the other Gods Destruction angels that we haven't really seen that much of, Vados and Champa and Beerus and Whis are just my two favorites. They're just awesome together. And I love her vouching. It was very nice and sweet. But regardless of any of that, we do get the last portion of the episode really focusing on Universe 11. Universe 11 has a lot going for it. We get to see Toppo kind of reminiscing about his moments in the exhibition match, not to mention lounging around this weird like building, if you will, in Universe 11. The city and planet landscape is very reminiscent of the episodes we got with Hit and Goku, of the whole assassination deal. And I like that. I really enjoy the fact that Toei Animation decided to focus more on the outer levels of these very specific universes. And I enjoy the hell out of that. We got to see some very interesting landscapes. We got to see some interesting beings. We got to see Toppo do stuff that's not fighting. We got to see his mindset over, this is really the last time I'll ever get to do anything in this place. And then we get to see the rest of the Pride Troopers, like characters like Dispo, which is the Bunny Beerus, and Casserole, which I don't know if it's pronounced differently in Japan, but it's basically Casserole, that's his name. And their involvement with delivering justice over evil, over Universe 11. We get to see their cool team-ups, their Ginyu Force Avengers, Justice League-esque team-ups, Power Rangers stuff. Really nice and cool and fucking epic. Not to mention their whale ship, which I thought was really funny and cool. And I like the Pride Troopers. I enjoy the hell out of the Pride Troopers. Toppo, it was kind of hard to get a read on him in the exhibition matches. He's obviously very powerful, and he's the leader of the Pride Troopers, but I liked him more in this episode because we got to get into his mind. He's obviously very scared, and he's obviously very fearful over losing his universe. He doesn't want that to happen. And we get that moment to come full circle when he takes down the supposed threat monster that he defeats in their little Pride Trooper moment, and he's delivering justice. You get that moment of like, he's not going to give up, he's going to do this, and I liked it. It was very, very enjoyable on their part. But moving off of that, we also got the Pride Troopers, more or less teasing more of Jiren. We get to see a tease of Jiren. We get to see him meditating in some kind of deep, dark void, which is very cool and badass. And of course, Gohan and Piccolo start their training, and Dende gives the whereabouts of 17 to Goku. This episode was very much jam-packed and shoehorned with a lot of information and action set pieces, but everything had a good pacing, everything felt and gelled well together, and it didn't feel forced. Sure, there were things that were a little lackluster and stupid in comparison to others, like the Goku sparring match with Majin Buu definitely felt very just unnecessary. I feel like they could have cut that out. If there's anything I didn't like, I have to say was the animation. There was lots of parts, and especially in the Universe 11, where every background piece was immovable. And I hate that when that happens. It's just an old style of animation where you have people who are in the background talking, but when you have the foreground not talking and moving, it's just so obvious and a good tell as to how shitty and lazy your animators are, and how much it just bugs me when they do that. And plus the action set pieces of more or less the fight sequences with Buu and Goku, and with some of the Pride Troopers like Dispo, they weren't really that extravagant and cool. They just felt very stale and generic. And I really wasn't a big fan of that. However, everything else I liked, and the music was good. There's 2 points of great music, which is when Goku and Saiyan are talking after the sparring match, and when the Pride Troopers kick some ass. It's so cheesy, but so it fits the scene, and I love that. Everything else is an A+ in my book. I love this episode. So overall, I'm giving this episode of episode 85 of Dragon Ball Super a solid 9 out of 10. That's my final verdict for Dragon Ball Super, a 9 out of 10. Let me know what you think. Of course, once again, I have a sore throat, so I'm going to end this motherfucker right here. And I can't wait for more episodes out of this arc. We're going to get Android 17 and Son Goku meeting for the first time ever in the next episode, which I can't wait to see. Surprisingly enough, 2 characters who were major players in the Android sagas never met each other, finally meeting in a head next episode. Can't wait to see that shit go down. Other than that, everything else, I loved it. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already. I'd really appreciate that. And of course, rest in peace, the great Don Rickles. This has been Judge 12, and I hope you enjoyed.